That is ridiculous. One of the main things America gets criticized for time and time again is how its police operate on a daily basis. I mean, we've seen diabolical cases and a lot of the world wonders, how are these police able to get away with the things they're able to get away with? And then I actually wound up making a video a few months ago on the differences between American police and European police, but I keyed specifically in on German police and how differently they conduct their operations compared to American police. And it was night and day. And also simple things like the training that you would think a police officer should have, American cops really don't have that. And that's what blew my mind. One thing that I noticed is that the training in Europe for police officers is significantly longer than in America. I think that's actually why we have a lot of situations where cops do wild things. It seems like they don't even try to de-escalate a lot of the situations that pop up on a daily basis. And it's led to this loss of confidence in how police generally navigate through America. I wanted to cover this video. I saw this grace my feed. It's called Cops from Around the World React to US Policing. And I never thought to even consider the fact that actively practicing police officers in other countries probably feel some type of way about how America's police operate. I mean, it looks like it's the wild, wild west out here. So if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. And if you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below how you guys view America's police. Is it as intense and as bad as we think it is over here, or do you think we're exaggerating a little bit? This video is going to be pretty interesting because of course it's going to bring up a lot, I would assume, of incidents that we've seen worldwide that have like sparked a lot of outrage, and I don't entirely know what these police are going to say other than the obvious.
Okay, I'm gonna hit play now.
It's the first moment when we can clearly see that Floyd is face down on the ground, with 3 officers applying pressure to his neck, torso.
This was a pretty wild case. When I first saw this, obviously it had the nation split, which I'm like, whoa. The police putting their knee on this guy's neck, and I'm like, whoa, that seems a little intense. And then he was saying he couldn't breathe. There should be, and there are several different tactics on restraints when it comes to detaining people where you don't have to suffocate them. This dude had his knee on the guy's neck, and then we saw real time his life leave his body. And I thought that was absolutely insane. So seeing this in the opening act of the video is insane.
So, and legs.
That's a murder.
Yeah. US police kill more civilians than the police of any other wealthy country. I could believe that. I didn't know that, but I definitely could believe it. What do officers from abroad think about that? Well, it can't be good.
I'm speechless, if I'm honest.
Whoa.
We found police officers serving and retired from around the world. Okay. Oh, from Germany. Okay. And showed them how the US handles policing.
Yeah, it's absolutely unacceptable.
Didn't go well. I'd also like to say that not all of the police encounters in America are bad, but it has gotten so bad that everyone is literally on edge whenever there's a seemingly casual encounter with a police officer, meaning like just walking past or maybe sparking up some small talk. If an officer sparks up some small talk, there is a hint of uncomfortability, no matter what race. Now, obviously, it's going to be different from, ethnicity to ethnicity in America, of course, but generally, I think American police have proved time and time again that there has been a heightened percentage of incompetence that has definitely impacted how the nation views the police.
I'm sorry, man.
Hours of training required in the United States versus the job.
For a barber, 1,300 hours.
Wow.
It's 3,500 hours for being a plumber.
Wow, look at all these numbers. Hours of training required in the US. And they read off all the numbers. And this is a considerable amount of hours, and this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense.
I would hope that police officers are getting a little more than what a barber gets.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that they have more hours required than any of those professions, to be honest. I mean, even a lawyer, even a practicing lawyer, I feel like cops need more training than even them.
Towards where the lawyer is.
What? That is ridiculous. And that explains a lot. The video could end right here, honestly. I was just making comments on the education differences between US police and police around the world, specifically in Europe and specifically in Germany. And that alone reveals why the police in America navigate the way they do in comparison to their European counterparts. It's a lot more reckless in America.
Oh!
647.
That's crazy. The US requires fewer hours of police training than 95 other countries. That's concerning.
In Germany, I trained 3 years. We have practical and...
See, I said that. I said 3 years in Germany. I guess my stat was right. In Germany, becoming a police officer is more like getting a degree. Their training lasts 2 to 3 years.
Theoretical training.
In Northern Ireland, we're not just taught the legal side, we're taught how to use and think on our feet as well. And it's those skills that make you a better police officer.
It also doesn't help that America's policing system is fragmented to the point of farce, with around 18,000 different forces.
18,000.
18,000 sets of rules, policies, regulations, and 18,000 levels of accountability.
So nothing's the same, bro. 18,000 different precincts, and you know, it just what the heck, bro? Obviously, you would think there would be some fundamentals all of them have to navigate by, but when you see how differently each set of police officers navigates, you're like, oh God.
Canada, we have 141.
In the UK, we have got 43.
In Italy, there's basically only 2.
We have 17.
Wow.
I will never complain about that anymore, since there is a country that has 18,000.
18,000 is crazy. Step 2, make sure officers are heavily armed. Oh my gosh.
The warrior mindset, Kentucky State Police Academy.
Gee.
This training document was used by the Kentucky State Police Department until 2013. Oh God. I'm low-key scared to see what they got.
The very first essential for success is a perpetually constant and regular employment of violence.
Oh, there's the word again, violence. I don't like that word.
Who said that?
Oh my God. It's
The very first essential for success is a perpetually consistent and regular employment of violence. Adolf Hitler, bro? What? That's insane. Ain't no way, bro. There's no way.
Hitler.
His quote is actually part of the slide that they're using. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't like to say that name.
I'm speechless, if I'm honest.
What the hell? Now, I did hear that after World War II, America did bring in a lot of key figureheads of the Nazi Party. I think there were some of the researchers from Germany and the scientists that were performing experiments on people. Like, I thought that was crazy. That piece of history was wild, but I can't believe that that's a thing. I can't say I'm surprised. Oh my gosh. U.S. officers are known to attend bulletproof mind workshops, which claim to help prepare your mind for combat.
There's been silly people that don't like the use of that word warrior with law enforcement. Is our cops the frontline troops in this war? Yeah. And they don't want to use the word warrior?
Is he saying that police officers are at war with the community? The police officer is there to serve the community.
So here's the thing, right? And I do have to kind of play devil's advocate here. I think the reason why our cops are so off the chain corrupt and there's this huge divide between the cops and the civilians is because of how our government is structured and what laws are set in place. We have a massive nation that can own every kind of firearm, right? Now, I would assume you can't own automatic weapons, but we still have individuals that have access to them. Now, I got to look into what the gun laws are in regards to owning automatic weapons, but the fact that we can own several different types of weapons and they're not intended for the use of hunting is wild. So obviously cops are on edge. I think a cop in any European country does not have to fear, the possibility of somebody unloading a clip on them. You know what I mean? So that is such a stark reality in America. I mean, you hear me joke about it all the time. I mean, I grew up in Chicago, so I got to see that all the time. Literally, people firing off, kids with guns, illegal guns, going crazy. I could imagine being a police officer and being assigned to certain areas would be very intense. And pair that with the lack of training, and you have basically a civilian with a bulletproof vest and a gun that has a knee-jerk reaction when faced essentially a a war zone that you won't see and you won't find very often in Europe. I'm not saying there hasn't been any shootings in Europe at all. That's not what I'm saying, but I am saying it is far, I mean, America is one of the main things we get dunked on all the time is school shootings. Like, we get absolutely dunked on about it. Like, it's so common. That's like, oh, America, you know, Statue of Liberty, American flag, school shootings. Ooh.
Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
Officer who shot Castile attended bulletproof warrior training. Critics say survival seminar fosters paranoid mindset, but firm defends approach as balanced. I think this right here is part of the damn problem. Like I told you, America wouldn't even have bulletproof warrior training concept slides if America did not already have a gun problem. But to perpetuate that fear in the training of officers who are supposed to serve and protect is diabolical. Because it is going to create people who are crazily paranoid. They're going to shoot first and ask questions later.
All we see is this scenario going the way that we've been trained that it could go.
Guess which of the following images are US soldiers in Iraq and which are police officers in American cities?
Wow. That is wild. That is wild. Okay, crazy thing is, obviously, on number 3 is a U.S. soldier. Number 2 is a U.S. soldier. Number 4 is a police officer. Number 1 is a police officer. What if they're all cops? I've never seen cops wear camo, though.
Okay, all of them are, I think, are soldiers.
And I think number 2 and 4 are militaries.
Oh my damn God. Oh my damn God. What the fuck? Huh? No way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. No way. What? It even says on his badge police, but I guess they unblurred it and they reveal that this guy's a cop. That's insane. I did notice that all of their helmets are not what we have in the military. Like, they don't have black helmets. They're normally like tan or beige. But I mean, unless you're like a special unit or something, they're normally like, damn, I should have known. Something told me like, what if they're police? Like, so what if all of them are police? Oh, that's crazy.
They're all police.
They're all police. Oh, shit.
Oh.
For several nights this week, this was Ferguson, Missouri.
Policing is very dangerous work, but police officers are not warriors.
I police in Northern Ireland, have done for 21 years. I still, to this day, have to check under my car for a bomb being underneath my car.
Ooh.
And even then, I still do not see myself as a warrior.
I'm happy that our police officers have got the sense to be able to talk to members of the...
See, this is the thing. It's such a complex topic. We need to restructure how we do our policing. But I also think that just like a lot of people are a product of their environment, I do think the police are the product of the nation. You know, unfortunately, it is a multifaceted issue and it is not a one-size-fits-all solution for how America navigates, because there genuinely are cops that try to do their job as by the book as possible, and obviously our books are a little skewed, but still they find themselves in, like, you know, life-threatening situations. And in America, since the frequency of life-threatening situations is significantly higher than a lot of these other countries, it puts people on edge. And then when you display that in the training, people who have yet to experience that but are aware of how violent America can get on a daily basis, they start off on 10. And by that, I mean they start off as paranoid and hyped up as possible. We've seen so many situations where cops confront a civilian and the civilian is like distressed and like argumentative and not cooperating. They're not getting physical, but they're argumentative and stuff. And the cop doesn't know what to do because they think immediately this person's going to reach for something and go crazy. So the cops unload into the civilian. And a lot of this, I hope this video covers it. I mean, we're halfway through, but the de-escalation training in America is virtually non-existent. It's such a small, minute portion of the training, and in some police academies it is optional. You don't have to go through that, and that's insane.
Public, and realize that they're servants of the public and not an occupying force.
Step 3, hold bad cops accountable. Don't hold bad cops accountable. Yeah.
Cops accused of stealing over $225,000 can't be sued thanks to
qualified immunity. Wow.
Qualified immunity.
That's insane.
Judges created qualified immunity to protect individual officers from liability.
And what it's morphed into is almost absolute immunity for law enforcement officers.
I'm telling you, man, it's so crazy in America, and I think that it's like this in other countries to an extent, but the way it's like this in America is like on a whole nother level. If a cop does something shady, and let's say another like precinct or another like unit has to investigate the atrocity committed in, you know, this other police department, if they're buddy, they got each other's back. They'll go through the investigation, but it's like they'll cover for each other. And there's other entities as well. It's not just like the police and that's it. There's like, you know, you got the ATF, DEA, all these other organizations and stuff as well. But I'm telling you, man, like it can get real corrupt. Like they can keep it so that information is withheld and even omitted from an investigation, so it completely skews everything. I mean, we've seen a lot of situations where cops frame the wrong people because they just need a name.
Or break the law.
The same law that should apply to the members of the public should apply to the police officers.
Nah, bro. It's rules for thee, not for me.
As well.
We have to take the same consequences. We have to have the same punishment.
Unlike the US, many countries have independent bodies to hold police accountable. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. Imagine like you commit a crime and then like the same department you committed the crime that you were a part of, right, has to do the investigation, but you are like super friendly with everybody in the department. They're gonna cover for you, man. There's so many situations where they can let stuff slide.
We have the Special Investigations Unit. We have the Office of the Independent Police Review Directorate.
I used to be the chief of the police academy in Georgia, and also I used to be the chief of Ukrainian National Police.
Oh, wow.
They were both very corrupted, and it was a huge legacy from the Soviet Union.
Oh.
In Georgia, we disbanded entire traffic police. We fired 15 to 20.
America is obviously not the only country that has corruption in it, because I've heard other countries where you can pay off police officers. If they pull you over and, you know, shake you down and give you a rough time, you can give them a few bucks, they go away. So I don't think there is a perfect society of policing. I do think that there is more trust in other societies than America's police, for sure. A lot of people, more than not, I would argue, don't feel entirely comfortable around US police because of the frequency of incidents that have happened. I mean, you know, I guess there's that saying, it only takes one bad apple to ruin the bunch, but we've had a ton of bad apples, obviously. Like there was that one incident, people had mixed reactions over it, right? But this lady was in her house, the cops were called to this house for some reason, and she has a pot of boiling water, and she says, "I rebuke you in the name of the Lord," and she has this pot of boiling water in her hands. It did not look like she was about to throw the boiling hot water on the cops, but this cop immediately shot her in the head. And I was like, oh my God. And all the other cops in the room, fortunately in this incident, looked at him and they're like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because it's not like she had a projectile in her hand. It wasn't like she was being hostile. She was distraught and she was definitely worried and nervous, but she was trying to transfer the hot boiling pot of water on the stove to the counter, and the cop sent her to the clouds, man.
1,000 police officers. And Ukraine, it was the same. Reforms in the law enforcement system were so vital. You have accountability in front of the citizens.
I think that might be a solution too. Firing the entire police department and hiring on brand new people. That would be interesting too. With the current laws in place, that would not work. But if the laws got changed drastically and then they started like wiping each police unit and immediately replacing them with new bodies, I feel like that could aid and, you know, also restore confidence in civilians. Now, I don't think anybody's going to love being told what to do and being held accountable for things. And there are obviously people looking for exploits to make the police look bad. Obviously, I am very aware of that as well. But I think there is an overwhelming majority of people on both sides in America that can agree that the police departments do need some work. They're not perfect by a landslide. They could use some work.
Research suggests that black people are about 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white people.
Interesting. I had a conversation with my parents when I was younger, and it was the police talk. It was like, hey, listen, you're in Chicago. You are a black person. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but your skin dark. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So there are a few things I can't do, right? Just to protect myself. If I get pulled over, do literally exactly what the officer is saying. It doesn't matter if the officer had a bad day. It doesn't matter if the officer calls me out my name. Doesn't matter. I have to listen to every little thing, as should everybody else, right? But you do get a lot of incidences where people argue with the cops. And, you know, you do see situations escalate when cops argue with people of color and it go from 0 to 1,000. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen with other races as well, but we've clearly seen on the internet that, right? So my parents had this conversation with me, and I can speak from experience because I've seen some crazy stuff in my life. Make sure you announce everything that you're doing so you can reassure them that you're not going to reach for anything crazy, and always be as articulate and professional and calm as possible. Provide as much information as you can if you are innocent, and if not, then be like, hey, I would like to talk to my lawyer, and they will take you in, but don't resist. Do not resist. That's the biggest thing. Do not resist. Okay. And that has actually made every single interaction I've had with cops in America amazing. I've never had a bad interaction ever, because I don't fight. I don't fight. I don't argue. I don't fight. If they tell me to do something, I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. But I can tell you, my other melanated friends that did not abide by those rules were treated very differently. How I navigate all the time is that you have to play by the rules of your environment, whatever those are. If there is a heightened amount of crime in your area and the overwhelming majority of people committing crimes are black people in your area and you happen to be black, then you have to take extra precaution to not be thrown in the same category as everybody else. You might have to be overly compliant. You might have to do whatever, but separate yourself so you don't get thrown and, stereotyped in that group of, oh, this person must also sell drugs. You know what I mean? So if you conduct yourself in a way that's just, non-threatening, there's a higher chance you make it out of that situation unscathed. But that is probably a hot take. So, yeah, let me know what you think about that. I think that applies to any situation, anybody, any race of people, right? If you navigate and operate in a way that is compliant, then you won't have a hard time with the officers. If they tell you to step out of the vehicle and search your vehicle, let them do it. Not a lot of people think like that. I understand why, but I just want to live, man. I just want to live. I just want to live. I don't got fight in me to... my ego's not big, bro. I have no ego. I'm like, go ahead. Do what you're going to do, man.
So you agree that there may be systemic racism?
I don't agree that there's systemic racism in the police.
Of course there is. Early in the 90s, in the UK, a young man called Stephen Lawrence was murdered. The government commissioned an investigation. It concluded that there was systemic racism in the police service. The beginning of the solution is to acknowledge that it exists.
The officers cuff Floyd's hands behind his back, and Koenig walks him to the restaurant wall.
All right, what's your name?
He was quite impassive, right? I mean, he wasn't aggressive at all.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at the footage, people always talk about, oh, well, what happened leading up to it? Bro, when they pulled him out the car, compliant. Whatever happened before that, he didn't strike anybody, whatever. He just, you know what I'm saying? He didn't seem violent, at least in the footage of him being ushered to the car. But we have to watch the rest of this.
Floyd says he is claustrophobic and refuses to enter the police car.
All right, well, that's gonna be you can't do that. I know y'all are like, what are you talking about? They're not going to be accommodated to that. Bro, if they suspect you've committed a crime and you say you're claustrophobic, that just means you don't want to get in a cop car, bro. They're obviously going to throw you in a cop car and you're going to have to make do with that. But then if that leads to you being aggressive, then they're obviously going to get aggressive back. And then that's how you have situations like this where the cops did some crazy stuff. But yeah, you can't do that, bro. If I get detained and I'm like, I'm claustrophobic, don't throw me in the cop car, bro. I'd be cooked. I would be cooked.
Tells them he can't breathe.
I didn't realize that.
Now that was crazy. So they didn't show this. Like the cop had his knee on his neck. That is wild. Now, I think that's like one of the last resort things cops have to do if the person is like overtly like wilding. They're super struggling, all that craziness, right? And they've tased the individual, they fucking pinned the person on the ground and they can barely get a hold of them. Then they're like, okay, let's just put the knee on the neck, I guess, to and secure him as fast as possible and then scoop him up and throw him in the vehicle, I guess. But I still think that's pretty extreme. A knee on the neck is wild.
They had got him handcuffed and in a seated position. Well, leave him there and find out what his medical problems are.
All 4 officers are now gathered around Floyd.
They had him in the car once. I don't understand why they ripped him out of the car.
Why isn't that other officer telling him to get off his neck?
1 to 3 big guys. I mean, it's like, of course, it's excessive use of force.
The fact that not one of them have actually turned around and said, get off his neck, it's almost that arrogant.
Because that's what my issue was. That's exactly what my issue was. You can pin the person down, obviously, right? Like, obviously, if they suspect him of doing whatever, you can pin the person down. But if he dude's saying, I can't breathe, and then you don't hear anything from him, yo, get off his neck. Like, get off his neck. And you can still have him restrained. It's not like if they took their fucking knee off the dude's neck, he was going to turn Super Saiyan 5 and fucking, destroy the entire city. You can still detain somebody without having your knee on someone's neck, bro. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, they could have still done what they intended to do without, like, killing them. They're like, oops. Like, what?
Chauvins kept his knee on Floyd's neck for a total of 8 minutes and 40
8 minutes is crazy. Oh, man.
seconds.
That's a murder. I really do feel sorry for the police officers who are there, want to do a good job.
And doing their job in very difficult circumstances and putting their lives at risk.
But there is no rule of law with corruption. There is no democracy with corruption.
I identify myself with being a cop very much. I love my job. And when I see that other people wearing the same uniform as I do, killing people, I feel ashamed.
It's crazy because, like, there are a lot of other steps you have to take before firing off your weapon in other countries. Like, I mean, I'm going to just use Europe as an example. And it seems like those steps are like not even considered really as often, at least in America, from what we've seen. I know they used the George Floyd incident. I mean, this is an old video, but there's so many other instances they can bring up as well of like cops kind of just going a little overboard. There was that one cop that asked the gentleman to step outside of his vehicle, and as he turned around, she shot him in the stomach and he died. I'm like, bro. And all the cops got on her too. They're like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, too jumpy, too jittery, So let me know what you guys think. This was obviously a very seriously toned video, of course, and whatnot. And I know, rightfully so, a lot of people give America shit for how we handle situations with our police. And rightfully so. So what's the solution? What's the solution?